I feel like the question that you guys are gonna ask is like, when are we gonna get high quality content again, girl? Like, we started off strong and it's been a little iffy the last couple days. Yeah, it has. It has. And that's because my life is going through multiple things right now, right? I am in the process of moving and downsizing from a 4 bedroom house that I ended up taking on after, like, when I first moved into this place 5 years ago, not 5 years ago, 4 years ago, I was basically restarting my life from scratch. And there were 3 other women that lived here, one of which is going to be my new roommate and in a new place. But there were 3 other women that lived here. I was starting over from scratch, just completely taking a leap of faith on my business. And as each person moved out, I took over the responsibilities of this place, which has been great. And I loved living alone for a while and I really enjoyed that. But there are so many things that I want to do and that are goals of mine, and it requires me to really get specific about what I'm doing with my time, with my money, with my resources, and how I take on the next, what is it, the 4th month of the year, the next 8 months of the year, because I have some really big goals that I've set for myself, not only for this year, but for 2026. And I really do believe that in order to prove that you believe in your big goals, you have to take risks and make moves that show that you really believe in what you say you want in your life. And I think that goes back to, I was talking about the big leap in a previous entry, and that has really been sitting in my mind a lot. I am running my business. I love boards and platters. I am growing a new business with the fitness business and training, and trying to navigate creating processes, finding new clients, getting a groove with social media, continuously learning and educating myself, working on the background to bring back my podcast, Becoming You, and the brand itself, while also navigating expanding my personal brand and all of the editing and the content and all the things that go along with that. Not to mention, staying in touch with my family, keeping consistent relationships with my friends, learning things just for fun, and then other goals. And I feel like they're all layered on each other, and there's so many things that are happening at once that I have to prioritize what's important, right? And so for me right now, that's showing up and not overthinking the aesthetic of it and just showing up consistently and authentically. That was the purpose of this challenge. And I think that it's very interesting that all of these things are happening while I chose to do this challenge, because I think it proves even more that you can show up if you choose to. 9 times out of 10. I'm not saying that there won't be a single day in this 90-day challenge that I miss, or, something comes up or whatever. Obviously, there's been 1 or 2 days that I ended up, like, the video ended up going up after midnight. I think one day it was like 2 a.m. because it took so long to process and upload. And that's fine. I was still uploading it and I still did it and I still showed up, and I'm proud of myself. But this period of my life, and I feel like for a lot of people, is a period of contraction. And I was talking to one of my friends today, and firstly, I'm so grateful for my community and for the people that are around me, because they have been unintentionally really feeding and speaking life into me this past week. I've had at least 3 of my friends this week just randomly tell me that they really admire my discipline and how when I say I'm going to do something, I do it and I show up, and that inspires them. And I didn't tell them this. I'm sure they're probably watching at some point, but it really had me emotional when we got off the phone, or when I reflected back on it, because my discipline is something I'm very proud of, but it's not something that just happens, right? I think that there's this mindset, and I think this is the same mindset that I attributed to athletes, is that it's just easy. Like, they are athletes because they are athletic, like, naturally. And I think that can also be attributed to discipline, where people are like, well, she's just disciplined because she's disciplined. Like, that's just who she is. And it's not. I really have to, like, I struggle sometimes. And when I say I struggle, it's like I have thoughts of just not doing it and giving myself excuses. Even today, I'm really tired. It's 9:30. I have a 6 a.m. training session. I need to work out tomorrow, and I'm still moving. And as you can see, I have a full bed still made up. There's clothes everywhere. I have a lot to pack and very little energy to do so, but it's gonna get done. And I don't want that to be, all those other things to be an excuse as to why I didn't show up here. And I think that is also a reflection of me going into the next stage of my life. And so that brings me back to the conversation I was having earlier about the ebbs and flows of growth. And I think that there is a discussion to be had about the realistic journey that comes along with growth. You know, energy is an example of all things in nature, and energy is not just a straight line, like sound waves and light. Nothing is just straight, right? Things ebb and flow, wavelengths, crests and rise. Like there's all these peaks and valleys of energy. And even with us, you know, there's this in our bodies, right? When blood pumps through the body, there is a period where your heart contracts and then it expands. And that is what pushes blood and oxygen through your body so that things can function, right? Awesome. We love that. But when we look at that as a reflection of the energy systems of our lives, as we look and seek expansion in our own lives, we have to be willing to accept the contraction. And I was reflecting with my friend today that I really love when you see the change in how you respond to similar circumstances. I think there was a stage in my life where I resisted the contraction because I felt like it was a representation of failure, of moving backward. And now I'm at a place in my life where I lean into the contraction because I understand that that is a reflection of the fact that I'm going to expand. And I think that comes from like just a consistent belief in the journey, knowing that I'm going to show up to do the work, and just faith in all the things coming together for your greater good, right? For the betterment of your life. As long as you are consistently working in alignment with the things that are speaking to you, whether that's, you know, just innate intuition, whether you believe that's God speaking to you, signs, science, whatever that may be, whatever guides you into the place that you're supposed to be. And that also goes to the faith that showing up, random text, showing up also is what gets you to the place you need to be for all things to come together. And what I mean by that is 90% of the work is getting there, right? Moving one step at a time towards your goals. But simultaneously, there are other things that are happening outside of you that are moving in the same direction or to the same connecting point in order to get you to the next phase. Whether those are people that you're supposed to meet, people that are supposed to leave your life, opportunities, lessons that you're supposed to learn. But you can't get to that next stage. You can't receive what you're supposed to receive if you stop moving towards the goal. If you expect for things to just come to you in this space of you not moving forward, then you're gonna miss the train. Like you're gonna miss the train. You can't get on a train if you don't get to the train station, right? The train is coming regardless. Who is at the station ready to get on the train? That's who's gonna get the ride. And you don't know where that's taking you. That's taking you where you need to go. And so consistently moving forward with faith in the fact that once you've done your 90%, that 10% luck, that 10% blessing, that 10% opportunity will come into play when it's supposed to, because you're doing the work. You're moving towards the things that you're supposed to do so that everything comes together. And I think that takes a lot of faith in the contraction period of your journey, because you're going to have to be okay with the sacrifice of losing certain things. That might be your time, that might be people, that might be your job, that might be money, that might be experiences, whatever it might be, so that you can expand. You have to realize that there are things you're going to have to shed so that you have room for the other things that are supposed to expand for you. And I'm really grateful that at this stage of my life, I am no longer shaming myself for the natural contraction that comes along with growth. I now see it for what it is, and I lean into it, and I say, okay, this is what the next move is. Great, let's work with that. What am I gaining from this contraction? Like what in the loss, right? Or in the shift, in the change, in the intent that I have to put behind whatever the behaviors are, the mindset is, what am I gaining? And you might be gaining way more than you even understand in that moment, but seeing it through those eyes really helps make the process easier and allows you to see opportunity in things that you might have looked past in a different circumstance. So I am going to wrap it up. It's 10 minutes, but I really want to share that in case there's somebody who needed that. If you feel like you're in a period where things are moving backward for you, or you're not moving forward, or you're finding that you might have to release or shed or shift or pivot, and it feels like a step back, realize that all things require contraction for expansion. There are ebbs and there are flows. There are peaks and there are valleys, and that's life. That is the cycle of life and energy as we know it. And so I encourage you to lean forward, do the things that you say you're going to do because you believe that you are capable and worthy of having that. So if you believe that you are worthy of having a healthy body, get up and do the things that give you that healthy body. Eat well, drink your water, move your body, speak life into yourself, affirm yourself, put good things into your mind, listen to good podcasts. If you're religious, go to church or read your spiritual text, journal, whatever that is, right? If you believe that you can have success in your career, do the work, research out of the hours of your job, go to those networking events, show up as the person that you want to be, learn, find mentors, seek additional opportunities where they're really going to put you in the position that you believe that you can be. And that really extends to so many areas of life. I even spoke about this in another entry where I was saying that believing that you can have boundaries and still have personal relationships that are flourishing and authentic. Speak to your boundaries, go to therapy, read about ways that you can articulate and heal. Just know that the life that you envision for yourself, you are worthy of it, right? You don't have to necessarily struggle for it, but do understand that all things require some type of work, whether that's emotional work, physical work, efforts of some sort. You're going to have to put forth the steps in order for those things to come to fruition. So if you are finding that you are struggling with that, know that you're not alone. Know that just because it doesn't come easy doesn't mean that it's not for you. And that if it seems easy for someone else, know that they probably might be struggling as well, or that they struggled at some point and now they have gotten to a point where now they understand that the struggle is part of the equation, right? Failure is not the end point. There's a lot of times where people think, oh, well, I don't want to fail. The moment I realized that failure is an inevitable and necessary part of success was the moment that I started to excel, because I stopped trying to resist and avoid failure instead of understanding that failure is a scale, meaning now I know where my current limit is, and that's my baseline. I don't need to work out with 5-pound weights if I know that my failure limit is 25 pounds. So now I can train at 20 so that I can continuously get to a point where when I start at 25, now I'm shooting for 30. I know where my boundaries and my limits are, and I see those as a challenge for me to move forward for that. The limit does not exist in its finite form, right? Like that is not the end point. It is a barometer for where you need to start training and where you need to start growing and learning and expanding so that you can get to that next level. Because you don't want to waste time training things that you don't need to train, learning things that you don't need to learn, right? You've already done that. So lean into the failure so that you know where your walls are, so you know what you need to start breaking down. You know what you need to start climbing over. You know where you need to start finding the door so that you can move to the next space. All right. I love you guys so much. I really do. And I really appreciate you guys being on this journey with me and following and just listening to me rant. As I said, next week, I think I'm going to focus on having a topic daily. I'm still figuring out whether that's going to be a topic for the whole week or just a topic singularly every day. But I think that will be really fun. I've enjoyed this process so far. I am going to do a little bit more work before I go to bed, and then I got to get up early and then pack up this house tomorrow. So wish me luck. I will see you guys tomorrow, and I hope you have an amazing, amazing Monday. All right, love you. Bye.